After a mixed bag of results in the last two windows, World Cup qualifying is back for the third window, and now it's the big one, El Choc de Gigantes, USA and Mexico going head to head. So my name is Alex, welcome back to the channel. Make sure you're going to follow me on Twitter and especially on TikTok because I'm going to go live from TQL Stadium from the game in Cincinnati. So make sure you're following me on there. This is obviously going to be the third time in 2021 that these two teams have met, and obviously the United States was victorious both times previously. However, you could say that Mexico were the better team maybe in both games. In the Nations League, Mexico were clearly the better team, but the U.S. took their chances. Obviously, Gio Reyna scoring, Weston McKennie scoring, Pulisic converting the penalty, and then Horvath saving the penalty right at the end. And then the Gold Cup, both teams missed a ridiculous amount of chances. Like, the fact that that game was only 1-0 to the U.S. is ridiculous. Like, that game easily could have been like 2-2, 3-3. Like, both teams just missed so many sitters. But that's an interesting aspect here. I want to take a look at this Mexico team in particular, and certain player who is back in the team after a long absence. But first we're going to look at how I think the U.S. is going to line up. And straight off the bat, you're going to notice that I have Matt Turner as the goalkeeper. Now, Zach Steffen, obviously, we know this. Everyone talks about this all the time. Zach Steffen's better with his feet. Matt Turner's a much better shot stopper. Now, you could have made the case, especially if Brooks and Dest were there, that you want to have Zach Steffen starting so that we can play out of the back more effectively. Mexico's going to be playing a high press. We're going to want to play out of the back. You want to have Zach Steffen there, who's obviously under Pep Guardiola and can play with his feet effectively. However, when you look at these players who are coming in, no John Brooks in the roster, combination of reasons for that. Serginho Dest is out injured, and I'm predicting that it's going to be Yedlin, who Berhalter suggested in his press conference is going to start, and Walker Zimmerman, who he's praised a lot. He gave 2 starts in the last window, even got to wear the Captain's armband in Panama. Clearly trusts Zimmerman a lot, so I think he's going to start Walker Zimmerman. If we're going to have Zimmerman and Yedlin starting with Miles Robinson, like, I don't think we're really going to be playing out of the back anyway. And when going up against an elite finisher, one of the best in the world finisher, Raul Jimenez, I like to have an elite top 10 in the world shot stopper. Yeah, I said it. Matt Turner between the sticks. So going up against Jimenez, I prefer Matt Turner. I don't think we're going to have to play out of the back very much. Anyway, now, this is obviously not my preferred lineup. I'll come back to that. There are a few tweaks. Anyway, Anthony Robinson obviously is going to be the starting left back. He's been one of the breakout sensations of this octagonal so far. Maybe the U.S.'s best player, arguably, alongside Brendan Aronson. He's been excellent. He scored against Honduras. He had some huge games over in the last window. Obviously couldn't play that Panama game. We missed him a lot. Sam Vines is also on the roster. He's just coming back from injury. I don't think he's going to play very many minutes anyway, though. Hopefully he doesn't, because Robinson's been phenomenal. Now, let's look at this midfield. Tyler Adams is, again, the key to this team, the most important player on this team. He's starting at the 6, no questions asked. Weston McKennie, again, he's had a great couple games recently for Juventus, scored a couple goals. He turned up in that Nations League final against Mexico, maybe our best player in that game. Obviously scored the equalizing goal, set up the Gio Reyna goal, got the assist on that, and then also just created so many chances, was just so dangerous from set pieces. Like, I think if there's one player who's most likely to score for the U.S., it's Weston McKennie. Now, the other midfield slot, now this is an interesting one. I think Yunus Musa is still the shoe-in to start. This is the MMA midfield. It's tried and trusted. People seem to really like it. I seem to really like it. The only issue it has is it kind of lacks a creative output, which is where maybe a Gio Reyna would come in for maybe a Musa, but Reyna is still injured. He's unavailable for this game, so I think MMA is the way to go. It's just going to completely bully the Mexico midfield, especially with Hector Herrera, and again, we'll come back to that Mexico lineup in a bit, because we'll talk a little bit about that and what maybe some of its strengths and weaknesses are. Berhalter suggested that Gianluca Buzio is in contention to start. Now that's interesting because he only got, about 10 minutes in that Costa Rica game when we were already up. So he doesn't really have any big game experience other than the Gold Cup, which, that wasn't really the full-strength team. So it'll be interesting to see if Buzio does come into the lineup. It would be a surprise to me, but Berhalter did suggest in his press conference that it is a possibility. Now the wingers, I think Christian Pulisic may very well start this game. He might start, but I don't think he will. He hasn't played more than 20 minutes since coming back from injury. So I think Brennan Aronson's going to start on the left wing. Again, he's been arguably the best player for the U.S. alongside Robinson. So I think there's no doubt Brennan Aronson will start, whether it's on the left or the right. His pressing is going to be really important against Mexico's back line. Again, we'll talk about Mexico specifically later, but let's focus on the U.S. lineup. For now, Paul Arriola is most likely going to start on the right wing. I mean, I don't think this is a guy who should be starting. He's understandable. It's understandable that he's in the roster as a depth piece. It's when it's a 2-game window and you have 4 wingers. The 4th winger is not going to play very many minutes generally, or a 5th winger in an extended camp. But Paul Arriola, he's a hard worker. What's that going to bring you against Mexico? He missed several chances in the Gold Cup final. There's no way he should be starting this game, but he probably will. He started all 3 games last window. Obviously had to pull out the last one through injury. Starting striker Ricardo Pepi. He's the only striker on the roster. It doesn't really matter. The only other striker on the roster, and I say striker in quotation marks, is Jesus Ferreira, because he's not a striker. He's been playing as a winger, as an inside forward 10 for FC Dallas. But for some reason, Berhalter is going to insist on only using him as a 9, which is what he said in his press conference. So, yeah, I think Pepe's the only guy really who can do a job at the 9. The guy behind Pepe, I would put at the 9, is Tim Weah, who is on the roster as a winger and has mostly been playing as a winger for Lille, but can play as a striker, and he does bring verticality. I know that's the buzzword, but I think he does bring that, and that's something that what Tim Weah brings. And as a number 9, he can definitely make runs. I'm just not 100% sold on him as a lone 9, since he's mostly played as a 2 up top when he has played as a 9, whether that be with Burak Yilmaz or Jonathan David over at Lille. So this is my preferred lineup. I have Joe Scally coming in at right back. Oh, throw in the 18-year-old who doesn't have a single senior camp, let alone a single senior minute. Throw him in against Mexico. Look, I think the absence of Serginho Dest is just such a ridiculously big loss. I just think that Yedlin will just completely get burned by Lozano, because the right back is going to be going up against Lozano, realistically. Reggie Cannon, again, he's not in any sort of state to play for the men's national team. I don't even know why he's in the roster, to be honest. He got called up despite only playing 2 games since coming back from injury. One of them he got re-injured. It wasn't bad, luckily, but the other one he got a red card. So after 17 minutes of play, Joe Scally, I even was hesitant to bring him into camp at first in September, because he's just getting his feet wet. Even in October, he's just kind of getting started with his new club. Maybe it's just a hot streak. Maybe he's just overperforming in his first couple of games in the Bundesliga. It's been 2 months. He is still going strong, playing right back, left back, right wing back, left wing back. I think if he can handle Alphonso Davies and Leroy Sané, he can handle Chucky Lozano. I prefer Joe Scally starting. I don't think Berhalter will do it, but I would love to see him start this game. I also have Chris Richards coming into the lineup just because I think he's a better center back than Zimmerman. He can play with his feet better, and he's significantly quicker. I just think Richards and Robinson, honestly, is the pairing going forward long term. I think in the World Cup, this is going to be our pairing. Aaron Long is with the team. He's not eligible to play because he's literally injured. I think the fact that he was in camp, brought into camp just kind of as a guest, I think that's a signal from Berhalter that when he's back, he's going to be back. And I think he's probably going to be a starter under Berhalter, probably alongside Miles Robinson, but we'll see. Hopefully, Richards and Robinson is a center back pairing in the future. And don't forget, John Brooks is going to come back, too. I think those are my 3 center backs that I'm very comfortable with starting games. Any combination of those 3 is fine by me. Alright, let's talk a little bit about El Tri, the opposition. So, Ochoa is going to be their starting goalie. I mean, he just turned up for the national team. He turned up in the Nations League final. There's not really much to say. He's the starting goalie, and yeah, probably going to wear the armband, unless Guardado for some reason comes into the lineup. We'll come back to that. Center backs. Now, left center back, Tata Martino has shown time and time again that he really does trust Hector Moreno. Now, there may be an injury concern there. We don't 100% know. I'm filming this 2 days before the game because I'm flying out tomorrow. But we don't 100% know if Hector Moreno is going to be fit. I'm going to assume he is for right now, and he'll be starting as the left center back. If he's not available, Johan Vasquez comes in. Now, this is where the big conundrum comes up for Tata Martino, because Cesar Montes went down injured. Nestor Araujo was already suspended due to a red card he got against El Salvador, which means that the right center back slot is wide open. So there are 3 options realistically for Mexico, and all 3 of them are bad, arguably. So one of them is to put in Johan Vasquez as a right center back, which is a bad idea because he's left-footed. He doesn't play on the right. He can't really that well play on the right. We haven't seen him play there in quite some time, so that can easily be exploited because he'll be playing on the wrong side, and it's much easier for a right-footed player to play on the left than for a left-footed player to play on the right. The second option is to move Edson Alvarez from the midfield into center back. He played center back in the World Cup. He's capable of doing it, and he'll probably do a good job there. But if you take him out of the midfield, this midfield loses a lot. It's probably going to be Luis Romo coming in. You lose a lot in that midfield. You definitely lose the midfield battle, especially against the MMA midfield, which the U.S. is going to be running. The U.S. would completely boss that midfield. Edson Alvarez is kind of the key. He's kind of just holding that midfield together. Alright, now the third option is to just bring in another right center back. You would think this is the obvious choice. Well, the other right center back options aren't really that good, so we're going to start with one. El Cata Dominguez is a 34-year-old center back who has kind of made a weird renaissance the last couple of camps, where he's basically just been coming in. He played a bit of right back before, but he's also available to play right center back. This is maybe the best individual player here. So, but I would really be happy from a U.S. perspective if he started. He's 5'9". He's not super fast. He's not the best playing out of the back. A 34-year-old at 5'9" would just get so exploited by both the press and on set pieces, but he's probably the most likely person to start. So, Cata Dominguez, hopefully he starts. If he doesn't, Gilberto Sepulveda from Chivas Guadalajara will probably be the other one who comes in as the right center back. He doesn't even start for Chivas every game, but he did play in the Gold Cup final. Other option is Angulo. I'm not as familiar with him, but again, he's not better than Sepulveda or Dominguez. And those are pretty much the options there for right center back. I don't think any of them really help this team very much. Right back, it's going to be either Jorge Sanchez or Chaco Rodriguez. Both of them bring different things. I think it's going to be Jorge Sanchez. He's been preferred lately. Jesus Gallardo is easily the best left back on the roster. And then Edson Alvarez, obviously he's the most informed, or one of the most informed players in CONCACAF right now. He's been killing it for Ajax, who have been killing it lately themselves. So he obviously goes in as the 6. Herrera, again, Atletico Madrid. He's another key part of this national team. The other central midfielder is kind of up for debate. I don't really know who it's going to be. Charlie Rodriguez, who started in the Nations League final and played in the Olympics, is probably the most likely option. Though I wouldn't be super surprised if Tata Martino goes for experience and brings in Andre Guardado. I'd be happy if he went with Guardado because, you know, he's really been showing signs of age. He's really getting up there in years. But I don't think he'll give you more than 30 or 40 good minutes, so he's probably someone who comes off the bench. Luis Romo is also a possibility, and maybe that'll be a surprise. Left winger Lozano, right winger Tecatito, and striker Raul Jimenez. This is a dangerous front three. Lozano has been in good form in Italy. He's been playing for Napoli. When he's been getting minutes, he's been performing. He scored a few goals, I think 2 goals this season already. Tecatito has not been in the best form. He had a very long, very busy, very tiring summer, and you could see in the Gold Cup he didn't want to be there. He was exhausted. He was done. But he's still Tecatito. He can still turn up in big games and can really make defenders pay. And if he's going up against Anthony Robinson, I think Robinson that's a good matchup for Robinson, but you never know what's going to happen. Like, he's susceptible to stuff like that. The striker being Raul Jimenez, he's an elite finisher. He's one of the best number 9s in CONCACAF. No, he is the best number 9 in CONCACAF. One of the best in the Americas. Raul Jimenez is an amazing finisher. Even Ricardo Pepi said he models his game in part after Raul Jimenez, in part after Robert Lewandowski. So, Jimenez is an amazing striker. We know that. And if we give up chances, he's going to make us pay. He's a finisher, and he scores goals. He's never scored against the U.S. before, but he's more than capable of scoring against any team in the world. So, even though he's just coming back from injury relatively recently, Raul Jimenez is the most dangerous player on this Mexican national team. So what does the U.S. have to do to win this game? Well, the first thing, the crowd is going to have to be loud. It's going to have to be behind the team. We know it's going to be a very pro-U.S. crowd, 90% at least in favor of the United States. So great job to U.S. Soccer for that, I would say. But we're going to need, first of all, to just don't play scared. Don't play scared, because in the Nations League we played scared and we almost lost. We cannot play scared. The Gold Cup we played like we had nothing to lose and we won the game. So if we don't play scared, we'll win. If we take our chances, we're not going to get that many chances, which is why Ricardo Pepi is going to have a big game today. Weston McKennie on set pieces, very dangerous. Miles Robinson on set pieces, dangerous. He scored at TQL Stadium last week. Let's hope he can repeat the trick again. And look, we're going to have to press them, because whether it's Moreno, whether it's El Cata Dominguez, whether it's Gilberto Sepulveda, we need to put pressure on them, because they're not the best team at distributing the ball other than Moreno. And again, as I said, if it's Moreno and Sepulveda, that's a center back pairing with a combined age of 69 years between those two. So our youth is going to have to run circles around them. Brendan Aronson, Tim Weah, Christian Pulisic, Ricardo Pepi. Like, we're going to need to really just boss this team, because the U.S. is young. Mexico, they're anything but that. So just to wrap it up with my prediction for the game, I mean, my heart says 2-0. My brain says 1-1. I think it's going to be a pretty even game between two teams that are very well matched. I mean, U.S. and Mexico is, in my opinion, the best rivalry in international soccer, in large part because at the moment these teams are just so well matched. And look, it's no accident that both the two games that the U.S. and Mexico played both went to extra time. So I think this is going to be a 1-1 tie. Both teams are going to score in this game. But yeah, it's going to be a very good one. This is one of the best games in international soccer. So this is it. Enjoy it. And a lot of these players, this is one of the biggest games of their lives. This is the biggest game, arguably, for the U.S. men's national team in quite a few years. So yeah, let's just get hyped and enjoy the game, and hopefully we can get a nice little win. So as I said before, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, because that's where you find me the most of the time. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, because I'm going to make TikToks. And also, I'm going to go live at the game on TikTok. But other than that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in Cincinnati.